All right. Hello, friends. I don't think we're live yet. Okay, here we are. All right. Welcome back to my channel. Chelsea Colley here, and I have a wonderful guest today. Let me X out of this. All right. Yes. Welcome, Jeff Jordan, sorry.
All right.
Um, yeah, appreciate you coming here today and taking the time out with us. How's your day going?
So far, so good.
Awesome. Awesome. Let me make sure we're live. I think we are.
I'm doing an interview right now. I'll holler you as soon as I'm done. Sorry about that.
Oh, my apologies. Jeff Jordan. I called you Jim. I didn't mean to say that.
All good. All good.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today. And as I mentioned on my interview with Anthony Hippolito, I have more of like a national or international audience, but I do think that this could still be helpful to people who don't live in Hayes County, because I feel like it's really effective to be able to team up with people in your community that are doing some really great things, such as your work with crime prevention in Hayes County. So I do think this will be beneficial to anyone, even if they're not in Hayes County. But appreciate all you do and all the work you do here in Hayes County with Crime Stoppers and Hayes County Sheriff's Office and everything. I did the Hayes County Sheriff's Citizens Academy, and we got to listen to a bunch of different teachers and educators. Well, you're not really teachers. You really like like run your own departments pretty much. But I honestly think that like the most interesting session was hearing you and hearing you speak about your career, because I think it's really fascinating. I think you've had a really great career. Similar to Anthony Hippolito, he's had an excellent career as well. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came about.
Well, I started with the Hayes County Sheriff's Office in 1998. I started working as a jailer. It was to me, it was not the path I thought I was going to go. My goal was to get through college, and so I worked nights, went to college during the days, um, and my goal was really just to finish up college and get into the military. And I'd been employed with the sheriff's office nearly 5 years. Whenever I did separate, and I went in the Marine Corps, and the thought of coming back to work for the sheriff's office wasn't even on my radar whatsoever. I had this idea that I was going to do a career in the military and uh, be there for the rest of my life. Somebody had some different plans, and they led me back to the sheriff's office whenever I got out of the military, and I was really lucky that where I was in the military in the Marine Corps, um, I was able to do a lot of stuff that was community service, community focused, and I it drove home even more that that was actually a part of me. So whenever I got home, I reapplied and got hired back on. Uh, Worked in the jail for about another year, and then I went to the Peace Officer Academy. Next thing you know, I was out on the street and uh, doing all the things that I swore I was never going to do. It wasn't
Mhm.
the life I was wanting, but the more that I've been here and done this job, now I'm about to hit 24 years in October, and I can tell you it's not a job. It's not. it's a chosen calling. It really is. I've been really blessed with my career to do things that a lot of folks won't get to do. I've worked on the street as a deputy. I've worked in our community outreach unit as a deputy, do actually going hands on with the programs. And then I promoted to being a detective. I worked for the most part. I worked almost everything I could work it in as a detective, focusing towards the end of my time, really focusing on crimes against children cases. I was on the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which a lot of the cases that we worked had to deal with child sex exploitation or online solicitation, those types of cases. And then I took a completely, totally different direction than what I ever thought I'd do. Ended up volunteering to go and be part of the DEA task force, and for about 9 months, I was able to work as a federal agent, but also got my hands sort of got my hands in the mix and learned a lot more about the narcotics side of narcotics enforcement and how that works. So it was real eye opening to me. I promoted to being a sergeant in December of 2016. And came back out on patrol. Uh, did a little over a year as a supervisor on the streets, and next thing I know, they had me over at the government center. I supervised the team that provided security for the courts and the building. Got to learn a lot of really neat and interesting things having to do with court security. Made a lot of great contacts around the state, and was actually able to revamp the program that we had and modernize it so that it was actually providing the service that it was designed to do. Um, I transitioned. I spent about 5 years doing that, and then I transitioned to be the supervisor of the community outreach unit, which is probably one of the best jobs that I've had in the sheriff's office. Uh, there's really something to say about being able to work with the community and help build up the community, to engage with them, be able to communicate, uh, learn from them, have them learn from us as officers, so that we're on the same page, so that there's not a communication breakdown. There's genuine understanding of what we do as a profession and what they expect of their law enforcement officers. And uh, I've loved being back in that unit. It's definitely changed from whenever I was in it 12 years ago, but the basics are still there. Our job is to go out and actually meet and talk and work with the public and see if we can help find better ways to solve the problems that are out there in our communities. And uh, I've really enjoyed that part. It's probably one of the most fun aspects of law enforcement for me, just because I meet everybody from all around the county, all around the state. I get to communicate with them. I get to find out what they want, what their goals are, and how we can do that together, community and law enforcement. And it's actually an amazing thing whenever it all comes together and works out, because when that happens, we truly do make all of our communities safer places. And it's really all about understanding and being able to have open communication.
Absolutely. That community outreach program, is the Citizens Academy part of that?
Yes, it's actually it's one of the biggest parts of it, because it allows us, usually twice a year we're able to bring in anywhere from 20 to 25 citizens from anywhere in the county. We do a background check. They get to come in for about 13 weeks, and they get to learn all the different aspects of the department, everything from the dispatchers, the investigators, the jail, how we do stuff on the street, the SWAT team, um, they get to see all of that. They actually get to do some hands-on stuff, do write-outs, get up close and personal with the canine, uh, see the drone team. It's really eye-opening, not just for the citizen, but I think it's really eye-opening for the officers that help to instruct the program, because we get asked a ton of questions, and it gives us an opportunity to really get in there and help people understand we are human, we're people too, we've got emotions, we have good days, we have bad days. But I think it helps all of us to really come together as one big community, and seeing that it's not just uh, what's portrayed on TV or the news or in some far left or right view uh, of what people are wanting to push out there as far as a story about what it is about being a cop and the relationship with the communities.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mark Andrews was in charge of that, and just wanted to give a shout out to him because he did a really great job with that. And every person that like was introduced to us, I mean, and yourself and everybody else, it's just such stand-up guys. Um, I remember when we were at the juvenile detention center, like Mark came in late that night because he flew to Mexico City with Anthony Hippolito, talking about the fentanyl awareness. And he could have come back and take the night off, but he came in just for the very end, just to see it through. And you guys do a really good job of hiring and or promoting within or whatever your process is. It's really good. You got some really good people in there.
Yeah, we're our agency is we're considered a medium-sized agency. We've been growing a lot over the last couple of years. I mean, whenever I started, we were maybe 250 officers. Now we're or 250 employees with the entire department. We're now about 500, a little over 500 officers or and civilian employees, and
Oh,
it's amazing that how many family members that are actually are employed by the department. I mean, we have a lot of husband and wife teams that work for the department. We have a lot of fathers and sons, mothers and daughters. It's it's a big family, and it's not just that, but we have a lot of people that they have family that are in law enforcement at other agencies, whether here locally or elsewhere, and they come in, they know a little bit about law enforcement because their family's been involved in it, but that's it's just another extension of that family. And it's really interesting, especially whenever you bring in people that they've seen it growing up, or they've seen it from being the spouse or whatever, and they come in and they come into the profession. They definitely have a deeper understanding and appreciation for what is done. But I think at the end of the day, I think for those individuals especially, I think it actually brings them closer together because they do understand what each other's going through. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to, definitely take my hat off to all the spouses, because uh, they don't sometimes they don't know if we're going to be late or anything like that coming home. They're they're left kind of wondering, especially if we get a late call at the end of the shift, and we can't call because it's an emergency situation. Uh, that's probably the toughest job in this family, is being a spouse or a child of an officer, just because sometimes there's just no way of knowing what is actually going on until they come home.
right. Oh, yeah, that's a little scary. So what is your involvement with crime prevention? And then what are kind of the ways that you guys are working with that in this community?
So I am a certified crime prevention specialist. I've been a member of the Texas Crime Prevention Association since I believe I joined 2010, 2011. And the I know we have a couple of the team right now that are going through the training. Myself and Mark have both completed the crime prevention specialist certification. So we have a ton of training in everything from uh, doing home security surveys, looking at windows, alarms, looking at doors, anything that would prevent somebody from breaking into a house or that could at least delay them from getting in, maybe be a deterrent. We do a lot of programs with our youth about being safe, everything from internet safety to just building their confidence through our junior deputy academy and teaching them things about being respectful and being that stand up citizen. We have programs for the adults, everything from cybersecurity items to fraud and identity theft prevention. Um, a lot of things that we can help push out there to the public and kind of get some education, because some of these crimes, especially when we're talking about cyber crimes of sorts, the criminals are very advanced for what they're doing, and they can be half a world away, and you'll never know it because it's all done over the computer. And sometimes some of these crimes you won't know until months after it's happened, whenever your credit report is all of a sudden hit pretty hard. And it's actually a pretty devastating crime. And things that we've seen, at one time it was specific groups. Then it went to really attacking like our elderly communities, and now they're targeting our kids, the 5 and 6 year olds who don't even have a credit status yet, but they're getting their information. So getting everybody, having programs that can affect everybody and teach them about being safe, teaching them about how they can help in preventing crime against themselves or others, just being a good observer and getting the information and passing that along to officers or anybody else that can help stop something or prevent something. It's a it's a it's a necessary thing that I think our society as a whole has kind of pushed away, because everybody thinks about this whole, oh well, if you tell the cops you're snitching. Well, you're not snitching. It's your community. It's your safety. It's some of these things are long lasting effects that in order to get over it or to move past it, we're talking years, sometimes decades down the road just to get over that hurdle. And that could be everything from a financial crime to a violent crime against a person. So being able to help get people so that they have a way of having their own voice to take a stand against crime, it's it's amazing, especially whenever you see it actually go into action and work.
Absolutely. So if there's like, is there like there's a tip line, I think, isn't there? If you're suspicious of something going on or something like that, or
Yes. So one of the hats I get to wear with the sheriff's office is I'm the executive director for Hayes County Crime Stoppers as well. So we team up with all of our local law enforcement, uh, and we've got a full board that we work to try to promote, and we have a part of our mission statement is to engage, educate, and empower the community to take a stand against crime. And what we're looking at doing is how is opening those doors of communication between law enforcement, the community, the media, getting everybody to have be able to share their points of view, be able to talk about it openly without anybody feeling attacked or threatened or harassed or anything like that, but being able to have a good open communication, and then start figuring out how, do some education to help people understand how crimes occur, or maybe why they occur, but then start working towards solutions and empowering citizens in businesses and schools to be able to step up and say, no, we're not going to allow that to happen here. Um, and all of us have a stake in that. We all have uh, the right to feel safe, whether we're at work or school or at home, and being able just to let people know that they have that right to stand up and say no, and be able to and help them, to encourage them to protect themselves, protect their loved ones, keep their house and community safe. Those are big wins in my opinion. At the end of the day, whenever people can walk away and go, you know what, this was amazing. I feel like I can actually stand up for myself, or I can stand up for my friend or my neighbor or whoever it may be. It's a good feeling to be able to know that we've been able to help people get to that goal, because for some people that's a very difficult thing to do nowadays.
So where can people follow that or get involved with that, or if they have information, where can they reach out to?
So we have the Crime Stoppers website is callcrimestoppers.com. And
Okay.
we have links on there where you can submit a tip through the website, or you can download the P3 app for your phone or mobile device. Either it's a free download and it's free to use. You can download it for Apple devices, Android devices, any type of device. Um, and you set up an anonymous account. Uh, there's nothing that tags you in there that says who you are. It has nothing that's going to trace you. It is completely anonymous. It's protected by law. It uh, which is in Texas. Texas actually has taken several extra steps to ensure that the tipster is completely anonymous. There's legal statutes that are in place that actually uh, prevent anybody from getting that information. And if it's released, people could actually be charged criminally for giving that information out. And we definitely take keeping our tipsters anonymous very seriously. Even if a tipster tells us who they are, you know, and we've seen it a couple times where a tipster will type their name in, or they keep trying to give us their name or information, and we'll make sure that all that's scrubbed before it goes to investigators or get anything like that. We want them to be safe. We want them to remain anonymous. And we do everything that we can to keep it that way. Um, a lot of people don't call the 800 number anymore, but we do also have an 800 number. It goes to a call center that's operated 24/7. So if they don't want to do it on a device, they could actually call. That number is 1-800-324-TIPS, TIPS. And the operator will get information about the incident or crime, and they get it forwarded to us through the electronic system. They'll give them a code number that way, and tell them to go through the P3 system, and they can actually follow up on it. The nice thing with the P3 system is if we get a tip, we can actually communicate in real time. It's all encoded. I can't see anything on the backside, uh, but I can communicate in real time with the tipster, and if they've got updated information that they're providing me, I can get that and I can communicate back to them and let them know that, hey, we've got investigators looking into this, or hey, could you give me this piece of information, or do you have this information? And it's an amazing program that it's been the whole program as a whole has been around nearly 50 years and has solved millions of crimes all around the world. In fact, the program started in Arizona and has expanded. It's completely international at this point. We have Crime Stoppers programs just about on every continent. And it's even expanded from just being a community-based program to we have programs in our schools. Here in Hayes County, we have 4 programs up and running, at our campuses. We have one at Hayes High School, Lehman High School, Johnson High School, and San Marcos High School. And not only is it doesn't just cover the high schools, but any of the kids can at any of the schools can call that number. They can submit a tip electronically to us. Um, we've had, I can tell you, we've had students that have reported something that looks suspicious and it didn't turn out to be that way, but they were brave enough to make that to submit that tip anonymously so we could at least check it out to make sure that their school is going to be safe. um, we've had teachers that have done it because they were concerned about the welfare of a student, and they didn't think that there was enough to do a CPS report or something. But so they submitted it to Crime Stoppers, and we're able to get people in there so that they can start an investigation, see if it's something where that child is okay. Um, we've gotten tips whenever a fellow student may want to hurt themselves. It's not just about crime. In fact, in 2019, the legislation here in Texas opened up the Crime Stoppers program so we could actually receive tips about bullying, suicide threats, or anything like that, anything that could be a disruption to the campus or could hurt kids on campus. It gives them an opportunity to feel like they can actually, even if it's that child that's wanting to hurt themselves, we can at least try to get them some help if they're wanting to get the help. If it's their friend that's saying, hey, my friend wants to hurt themselves, we can get that information and get them help. And we're not worried about, we have to know exactly who it was that gave it to us. We just need to, we'll verify if that child or that individual, that adult needs help. We're going to try to get them whatever help that they'll take so that they're here for their family and their loved ones. Um, and if it turns out to be nothing, maybe it was a joke or a misunderstanding. We've at least done our diligence to make sure everybody's okay. Um, and that's actually a good thing, because it's not about snitching, it's not about tattling or anything like that. It's about taking care of our fellow citizens, our fellow community members. Um, and it's a, I think my personal opinion is, at the end of the day, it really is, it's a good feeling, especially whenever we have students that are brave enough to step up, because that's one of the hardest things for them, is to be able to step up against the peer pressure or what their peers may think about them submitting a tip or anything. But they're brave enough to do that and take a stand against crime, or stand up for a friend who's getting bullied, or just stand up for a friend who needs some help because they're going through something rough. Um, our kids right now, they go through a lot of things, and both good and bad. And unfortunately, whenever it's bad, sometimes it's to the point that they don't want to say anything and ask for help. And if, like I said, if we can get them some help, whatever way, even if it's just to listen, hear them out, then that's what we want to do.
Awesome. And there was a lot of talk about in the class, like about consent and how you guys are not going like you're not stepping past any boundaries. Like the people are giving the consent to help with these things and to help with suicidal calls or whatever it is, bullying or whatever it is, tips or mental health calls, but you're not going to overstep your boundaries to where it's like, oh no, you're forcing someone, like you have to come with us. Like if
No.
if you hear someone needs help and you're there and you're telling you we're here to help you, we have resources for you, and they choose to not take that help, then that's their choice. But you guys are willing to offer your services.
Yes. And now there are times where uh, if somebody is in that type of crisis where they've got it, there is no option but to get them the help. Sometimes it's far and few between, but sometimes we will, if somebody really needs it, we're going to get them that help one way or another. And if that means that we get them to ride with us to the hospital, or we follow their family to the hospital so they can get help, get checked out, maybe get a plan going so that they're going to be safe, then so be it. Because we want them to be safe. We want them to be around for a long time. Um, and the other part of it too is um, the work that we get to do with, especially like our alumni association members through the Citizens Academy. Kind of moving away from a serious or uh, a criminal aspect of the job, we get to do a lot of really good, fun things. Every June, we host the Sunshine Kids. It's a group of kids that all have cancer, different stages. Some are in a terminal stage, some are recovering from chemotherapy. But we get to host them for a week and let them be kids. We get to shut down Interstate 35 and do a full blown presidential police escort from San Marcos up to the Capitol, which they love. Um, we take them they go tubing. We throw a big Texas style barbecue for them. We have a big party for them at the end of the week, which is a blast every year. And that's one of the really fun events. One of the things that we do during the summer, we also host junior deputy academies. We spend 3 days with kids, and we show them all about law enforcement. But we have a blast with them. Everything from joking with them and playing games, getting to know them, and just seeing a child's mind at work in some of the questions that they have. We also have a lot of fun with our alumni, both those that are the students going through the Citizens Academy, but also those who have graduated and want to volunteer and help out the department. We offer a ton of things. We have an advanced academy that they can come back and go through. It's more specialized topics. We have volunteer opportunities within the department that if they want to come and help out with up at the front desk, or if they want to come and help out in community outreach or with training events that we may have. That's actually probably one of the crown things that some of them get to come out and help us with training. The SWAT team uses them a lot for training. We use them with the court security group. They get to come up and do training for a couple of nights whenever we do those. And we got some really great actors that we get to see, probably some Oscar winning performances. But it's good for the officers because they don't know who some of these people are. And then we switch it up, and they're getting to do things that if anybody else was doing, they're probably going to get arrested and go to jail, because we're having them role play scenarios that are real life. And then afterwards we talk about it, and everybody we get to laugh about the mistakes, things like that, and everybody gets to have a really good time. And then of course the end of the year, we again, another of the hats that I get to wear now that our previous lieutenant has retired is I've recently taken over the mantle of the Brown Santa program. And so every year starting in November, we go out and raise food and toys and get monetary donations so that we can help families all around Hays County have a Merry Christmas. Last year alone, just on delivery day, we looked at the total numbers of families was around 525 families throughout the county that we were able to help. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of over 1,800 kids just on delivery day. And that was counting being able to help CPS, the youth shelter, the women's shelter, Knights of Columbus, CASA, all these other groups that were able to come in and go through, and any of the extra stuff that we have, they come in and they get it. I'm wanting to say that the total number of kids that was estimated that we were able to help was close to 2,400 last year, which is a record-breaking year for us.
That's incredible.
And we've actually already kicked off some stuff for that this year. We've actually, I've gone to every high school in Hays County, with the exception of one, and I'm trying to get on their schedule. But all of the high school dance teams here in Hays County have all agreed to do what we're calling the Brown Santa Dance Challenge. And so, starting October 1st, they're going to help us with getting food and toy donations any way that they can. And the winning group gets a trophy that stands about 6 foot tall, and it's bragging rights for a year.
That's
And
awesome.
they're all pretty excited about it. So, and we're actually excited about it because we think that's going to help, and it's also uh, bringing in some of our high school kiddos that for them to take a look at how they can help their fellow man. And uh, you know, that's what I love about this community outreach unit. It's not the stereotypical crime prevention thing that it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Um, our unit has really evolved to being whatever or doing whatever we can to make our community safer by having that open communication. And uh, sometimes it's just listening to somebody rant because of a speeder that they encountered on the road, and we call them back because they want to get traffic enforcement, and we listen to them for about 5 or 10 minutes. We may talk to them only for a couple of minutes because we just let them get everything off their chest. The other part is just seeing what's going on out there. Sometimes whenever the only time that we ever hear about certain types of crimes or things that are really unique is when we respond to them. But by building up the trust in the community, we're actually able to get ahead of that curve in some cases. Earlier this year, we had and I actually got a call about this the other day. It's kind of funny. Earlier this year, I had a couple of citizens that called and asked to speak to me because they were receiving phone calls from somebody that was impersonating a peace officer using my name with the sheriff's
Oh,
office, saying that they were going to have that they had warrants issued against them for not going to a federal court appearance. Well,
wow.
we don't deal with federal courts, so we got to educate them, but also we got a lot of really good information, and we were able to get the phone number that it was coming in from. We were able to get some additional information and get that out there to the public. And then I was told here recently it was the same thing. Somebody had called saying that they were me and that they were going to get warrants for not paying their traffic tickets or something like that, and telling them to go to Walmart and get a good gift card and everything else. And the officer that called me, he was like, "Hey, I just had to let you know about this, and this is what we did." And we had a good laugh about it, but um, it works, especially whenever the citizens are calling us, going, "Hey, I think this is a scam," instead of getting victimized by that scam.
Right.
So that tells me that we've gotten that message out, that we've got some citizens that are paying attention, and they're watching not just for themselves but for other people. And that just means that as a whole we're accomplishing that mission of reaching out and engaging with the community.
That's really huge. That is awesome. And I don't want to get cut off. I think that Zoom is going to cut us off at 40 minutes. So I think we should sign off before we get cut off. But that's huge to be able to operate with the permission and with the trust of the citizens. So thank you
Yes,
for sharing all that. That's really above and beyond.
it's been an amazing experience, and I would encourage anybody that has the opportunity to definitely, if they've got the time, and they, even if it's just to go through like our Citizens Academy class, see what it's all about, have that experience. I think that at the end of it, they actually get to walk away with a whole new perspective of what is actually going on in law enforcement. They may have had a bad experience someplace down the road, but I think by coming in and seeing what's actually going on behind closed doors, it helps both sides to open, and I think it actually lets people see, both the officer and the citizen see how it affects each other. And I hope that all of our alumni members and everybody who's ever gone through one of our classes has really walked away with a better experience and a better understanding.
Definitely. I know I learned a lot and it really helped me to understand because, kind of law enforcement, you think, oh, just, police, but it's much more than just police on the road. And I'm going to do another video recapping my experience with the Citizens Academy. And it was really cool to be able to hear the ins and outs and also the challenges and the strengths of every department as well. So you kind of get the download for each department. So
Yes,
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
anytime. We appreciate your support, and thank you for allowing us to come on and speak and share our experience and uh, some of the cool things that we get to do that are really outside of the typical realm that most people think of.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, I didn't want to get cut off, so I'm glad we didn't. But thank you so much for your time.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate
Anytime.
you.
Anytime. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.